Good morning, everybody. It's Monday. Welcome to your Monday message of mental health with me, Dr. Jenn, from the Rose Center for Learning. So, like many of you, I am thrown into the world of distance learning with my children. And this morning, I had a whole different message planned, but I found myself stuck in maybe something familiar, which is trying to work through math with my 8-year-olds. I coming at math with the way I learned, which is very different from how people are learning math today, and losing respect by the millisecond from my daughter, who says, this is not the way they do things. Mom, you are old and don't know things. And as we were going through, she was trying to show me a different way. I was trying to show her a different way. And the panic started to rise and the unhappiness started to rise. And as all of these feelings are mounting, I heard myself saying to her, okay, let's freak out, but then focus. Freak out, then focus. And I realized that there are a lot of other areas where that particular message can be helpful. So you want to allow yourself a little moment of freak out always, okay? Because, unless, there's like a car barreling forward and you have no time to freak out and just need to act. But aside from those like super emergency situations, most of the time you really want to give yourself a moment to just be like, what's happening in my life right now? This is unexpected. This is scary. This is whatever. But just a moment. And then what you want to do is, instead of sitting in that freak out place, you want to turn it around and get focused. How are you going to solve this problem? Breathe, calm, focus. What do you need to do? Okay, so let's look at some examples. So when we were talking about math, it's a perfect example of let's have a moment of being like, I don't know how to solve this problem and I don't like it and math is stupid or whatever, whatever happens. That's where I always go. Anyway, and then you say, all right, let's figure this out. Let's put our freak out. We felt it, we enjoyed it, and now we're putting it here. We can always return to it if need be. It's not going far. But now let's focus and say, all right, let's get our resources, figure out our strategies. What are we going to do to solve this problem? Okay, so let's put that to some other tests. No one wants to talk about math anymore. So let's give some other examples of how this plays out. So let's say you're having a problem with a relationship. And actually, let's even go back and say, I use the word problem. We're not even going to say that you have a problem with a relationship. You have a concern that there's a problem in the relationship. So let's say you're dating somebody and all of a sudden that person didn't text you back. Let's say, you texted something, there's no response. Your reaction to that lack of response, or maybe it's a short response, a terse response, or a cryptic response, but anything better, anything that's not a, happy, informative, normal response. So you get something that is a red flag to you, like, this response is not what I expected, wanted, or understand, okay? So how you react to that is going to be based on your normal patterns of thinking, which may be distorted patterns. Often are distorted patterns that we have, okay? And so what will happen is you'll immediately go to, oh my gosh, they're mad at me. I've done something. All right, what have I done? What have I done? Let me go through all of my last interactions and think, what have I done that have made this person upset with me? And as I'm going through that, my freak out is mounting. My panic is mounting, where I'm thinking, okay, I'm in trouble. This person's mad at me, and this means we're probably going to break up, and I'm going to be alone forever, and I'm never going to have kids or get married or have any happiness in my life or whatever, okay? Right? So, and that's what I mean. That's my clinical definition of freak out, is going way beyond what the situation calls for and having an emotional overload, okay? So it might be that. It might be that you sit there and say, oh, they're upset with me. That is one. You might have a different reaction. You might be like, what the freak is wrong with that person? What a jerk. They're not getting back to me, or they're not giving me what I need. Like, I have no time for them. I'm out. I'm out. I'm breaking up. I don't want to have anything to do with this person. I should just be single because this keeps happening, and I'm not even going to talk to them. I'm just going to be gone. Okay. So two very different reactions to the same scenario. There are many, many different reactions. Okay. And so the idea is we usually fall into sort of patterns, typical patterns, although you can always break free from patterns, but we tend to fall into patterns of thinking. And that thinking is going to inform whether you are in full freak out mode or whether you are focused. So a focused example would be if you say, huh, that's weird. They don't usually react that way. Okay, so there could be a lot of different reactions of reasons why they're reacting that way. Maybe they're upset with me. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe I misunderstood. I'm going to sleuth it out. I'm going to go and I'm going to ask them and figure it out. Or maybe I'm going to go talk to some other friends of theirs and say, hey, have you noticed that this person is sort of off today? Did anything happen that I should know about, or that you could explain it? Or you might go directly to the person, or you might say, I'm just going to do something super nice and see what the reaction is and go make some brownies. Whatever the case may be, this is a focused response, right? And it's coming from, I'm going to strategize and I'm going to use my emotions to, instead of bubble over into a place of panic and despair, I'm going to use my emotions to say, okay, let me strategize some ideas and see how I can address this problem and see where it's going to take me. And that's a more focused response. It's not the lack of emotion. It's still based on your emotions, but in a focused way rather than a bubbled over way, if that makes sense. Now, I just want to repeat what I said in the beginning, because I'm not saying that bubbled over emotions or freakouts are bad. Sometimes a good freakout is the best thing that you need. Just letting those emotions bubble over and just sit in them and enjoy them, even if they're negative. By enjoy, I mean let them be, and not just push them away. Often we want to do that, right? So that's an okay thing to do. You just don't want to get stuck there and sit in that and wallow for too long without having the balance of, now let's focus and strategize and see where this can take us. Okay, so that would be an example. If you don't do that, what ends up happening is not only that the emotions bubble over, but the distortion starts to win and become reality. And so then you've made this whole scenario up that might not be true. That becomes your reality. And then all of your emotions after that, and your thoughts about yourself and about this other person and about the world in general, are based on this distortion that might not be true, right? So now all of what comes afterwards could be wrong, because it's based on something that isn't true. And that's why you don't want to sit in it for too long, because you want to challenge that distortion and say, is this true? Or is there another way for me to look at this particular situation? Is there another truth that's there that is a healthier truth? Let me strategize and see if I can figure that out. If you don't do that, then you're reacting to something that could be distorted. And also, I think what comes along with that is often an effect to our confidence level in ourselves, that you can start to really doubt yourself and feel like the world is happening to you rather than you going and making the world be your own. And that kind of, victimization is too strong of a word, but feeling like everything's happening to you and you have no control over it can really affect your confidence and make you turn small. And we don't want that. So this is where the math lesson took me today. So I hope that was a fun journey for you. So the message for this week is to focus your freak out. Okay, you want to be able to have a freak out, and then you want to focus it so that you can use those emotions as a guide into really coming up with good strategies to figure out a scenario and to understand it, and then to move to the best way forward. Not allowing those distortions to write the script, but you are going to write the script based on a focused freak out. So that's your message for this week. There are many, many examples of that. Feel free to write in some examples in the comments below and make this be part of a larger conversation. But as always, do share these Monday messages to anyone you think would be helpful to hear them, and enjoy your week. We'll catch you back here next week for another Monday message. Bye.